how can organizations align their risk culture with future restraints? I think this is a very important issue, especially given the fact that the environment is very dynamic. The environment is fluid. In fact, it is said that we now live in a poly crisis environment across the globe. So I think it's important for several reasons for organizations to be able to align their risk culture in line with future restraints. Now, aligning risk culture, as it were, with future restraints involves actively preparing for emerging risk and evolving the organization's attitudes, their practices, and decision-making processes accordingly. And this is very important because any organizational risk culture that remains static will not be able to deal with issues that arise, in the future. So there are a couple of things which organizations can do, and I wish to suggest the following, main points. The first is that every organization needs to stay informed on emerging risk. Of course, when we look at the risk management process, you'll see that monitoring is an important aspect, especially after you have, come up with, responses to the various, risks which the organization has decided, to deal with or to mitigate. Monitoring is very, very important. So every organization must create the environment for monitoring of global, risks. And this means that organizations should be able to regularly track industry reports, news, and research on economic, environmental, technological, and regulatory trends that may introduce new risks to the environment. The other thing is that organizations must engage in scenarios, scenario planning. Then, of course, I want to include regular stress testing. Then, of course, organizations should, in terms of trying to stay informed, utilize big data, and business analytics to be able to align their risk culture with future risk trends. The other thing that organizations can do has to do with fostering a forward-looking culture that is being proactive, engaging in proactive risk management. By so doing, the organization will be able to instill a culture where employees are regularly encouraged to identify and escalate potential risks before they in fact materialize. I would also like to mention that organizations should also be able to empower adaptive leadership by encouraging open discourse in respect of potential future risk. The other point that is so key is that organizations should also be able to implement adaptive risk management frameworks. What I mean here is that organizations should be able to use dynamic risk assessment, of course, also regularly revise their risk tolerance levels in line with the dynamics of the environment. The other point has to do with encouraging innovation and resilience. I think organizations need to develop flexible and resilient processes that can withstand unexpected challenges, which can mitigate the impact of unforeseen and unprecedented risk. Finally, as part of aligning risk culture with future risk trends, organizations also need to foster cross-functional collaboration. This is very key. And I think organizations should be able to engage with their suppliers and industry bodies and even competitors to be able to stay abreast of shared risks, particularly those related to systemic issues like supply chain vulnerabilities and cyber security. So if an organization is able to pay attention to these various areas, then it is very possible for being able to adapt their risk culture with future trends in risk. Thank you very much. Thank you.